And welcome to We Live in Color. I'm your host, Deontay Damper. Now, before we start this wonderful episode, I need you to like, share, and subscribe to Converge. You can learn more about the Emmy Award-winning The Day with Trey, Back to Base, and more. Go to whereweconverge.com to see why Black media matters. And you know what else matters? Black mental health. You know, I was just reading an article right here in King County that youth suicide with Black youth has actually went up since 2020. And I often think to myself, where do these youth have a safe place to land? Where does this community have a safe place to land? Yes, we have organizations like Crisis Connections and Therapy Fund Foundation to give folks access, but where are the places where community folks can be able to breathe and see each other? And I'm happy that there's a space that's available for community members to actually be a part of that community compass of healing. And I'm happy to sit here with Sierra Jones.
Hey. I like that, community compass for healing.
Yeah, seriously. You know, I'm so happy to have you as a guest. I mean, you were one of the first of 8 episodes that we had, yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. Y'all were just opening a space inside, right? Mm-hmm. For community folks who might not be familiar, what exactly is a space inside?
I would say a space inside is, we had a studio on 4th. We don't have our studio anymore. But,
what? Oh, we're going to talk about that.
Which we'll get to. But I would say it's a space made to redefine what self-care looks like, what community looks like, and a space for folks to go and be able to express themselves, explore the arts, and really, we have some reoccurring events, which are open mics, which tend to really bring a place where folks can heal and connect. And you're talking about mental health and Suicide Awareness Month. One thing that I find really profound about our open mics is that folks tend to be able to find words in other people's poetry, words in their stories, words in their experience that can somehow, express what they're going through and put words to something that they haven't been able to put to. So it's a really beautiful space to own and to be a part of, and that community is so beautiful.
Yeah. It's beautiful because there's two things that are happening there, right? Community healing, as well as supporting Black business, right? Mm-hmm. So what was it like starting off, opening up this business, and finding that you realized that you were creating a space to heal folks?
Yeah, I think when I started this business, it was just an answer to God. The universe was just like, hey, you get that download that a little piece of mail comes in your mail slot and you open it up, and sometimes you listen and sometimes you're like, maybe I'll throw this away, and then you forget to listen or forget to look at it. And for me, Inside was one of those places where I listened, and I didn't really know exactly what it was going to be. I just knew what the intention was. And so we started out, we had retail products. I've supported, I think, 76 Black-owned businesses and creatives since starting my business with TA support and just really helping to amplify those businesses, those artists, and those creatives. But now we've kind of shifted to really focusing on the events and the healing and bringing different modalities to self-expression and to healing.
One of the things that was so unique about the space, I never heard about sound bathe healing, right? Mm-hmm. And it was something that was also highlighted on Back to Base.
Yes, it was.
But tell us a little bit more about sound bathing and bringing it. I looked at it as a gift to Black community.
It really, the thing that we all forget is that at the very end of the day and at the core of who we are energy. If you go into our atoms, you go into our cells, we are energy. And so we go through this hustle and bustle of this physical world because that's what we see, forgetting that we are energy. And so sound baths was a way to introduce a healing modality where, those metronomes where you tink it and it goes tink, 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 and then eventually it gets into synchronicity. Mm-hmm. And so what happens with sound baths is that frequency goes and it helps to raise your vibration so that you eventually go tink, tink, tink. And so as you clear out those things, it can help to break through some of the energetic behind maybe the trauma that anybody is feeling or stuff. So it can help just kind of break that up and release it, so then you can move through it more logically, move through it even more creatively. It's just a way of processing and expressing emotion and energy. And so I actually brought it to I actually brought it to our open mics because I wanted to introduce that healing modality to the Black community. Because we have so many people that come to the open mics, it was a really low risk opportunity to be like, hey, I want you to try something different. And from that, I've gotten so many people that can now come consistently to my sound baths because of the experience that they had at the open mic, and it was so profound. So definitely just an opportunity to keep your eyes open.
Yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, you used to do it in the middle, like it'd be like right before. Maybe there could have been a chaos or something, or a really heavy poem. And I just remember just people feeling centered. And it wasn't just during the open mic nights. The last Friday of the month, poetry nights, hosted by our family, Mr. Daryl Photo, really just brought something different. And I can remember Daryl being so shy. And there was just a different type of healing that came from the poetry nights.
Yeah. Our standard open mics got really popular. As you know, you're our host. And it got so popular that we needed to split it off and let poets do their own thing and let the rest of the musicians, the dancers, the magicians, everybody else that wants to come and create, to have two separate things. And what that allowed, though, is that the poetry night then becomes much more deep, centered around healing, and the other open mic tends to be more centered around creative expression, artistic expression, and community building, and just kind of like creating that sense of belonging. And poetry night is when people are crying, they're laughing, that is the full embodiment of all, like, the human experience, so many emotions. And so I don't ever want to leave someone just laying wide open with their emotions. And so I tend to close those nights with sound baths to help just recenter and ground everybody from that experience. And just kind of like, I think one thing that makes that space really special, and I don't want to toot my own horn, is the fact that I manage the energy through the night and the flow of the energy through the night really intentionally.
Yeah. And trust me, I felt that, and always thanked you for coming in and helping with not just that, but I think it's just your energy in general, right? And for 2.5, 3 years, you've been able to create that space for folks.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean, like, I feel like what other space is going to say, hey, if you're not a person of color, I want you to excuse yourself to the end of the night so that we can get through the voices of color. Like, when have Black people ever been prioritized like that?
Yeah.
You don't see it. And for me, it's like there's so many spaces that are not for us, that don't prioritize us, and honey, I'm not going to be one of them.
Yeah, I'm going to high five you on that. But I do want to unpack some more because, I mean, you already said a little bit more, like you had to scale back and shut some things down. So I want to unpack that with you, as well as talking a little bit about mental health. And I think that who better to have a conversation with than you. So we're going to take one break, and we'll be right back. You're watching We Live in Color.
Well, on Fox Face Off, we tell the raw, unadulterated truth.
Fox Soul Face Off.
We are given the platform here with no fear.
Always comes out swinging.
We should be saying, hey, stop shooting and killing people.
Nothing held back.
They wanted Black hip-hop moguls and artists to continue the feud.
No punches pulled.
And shut the hell up. You interrupt me all the time.
Tune into the show where opinions collide. Fox Soul Face Off. New episodes weeknights at 9 or stream anytime on Fox Soul.
In Seattle, it's more than just coffee. It's community. At the station, we brew more than just your favorite cup. We brew connection. From Beacon Hill to Columbia City, we're a space for artists, activists, and everyone in between. A place to gather, create, and simply be. Whether you need a quiet place to work, a lively spot to meet friends, or just a moment to unwind, find your place at the station. More than coffee, it's home. Visit us in Beacon Hill or Columbia City. The station, where community happens.
Hi, my name is Sierra, and welcome to Insight. Inside is a space made to redefine self-care. We do that through products that we offer here, our services, as well as our events and experiences. The types of experiences that you'll get at Inside or you can look forward to are really fun, specifically curated things to help you expand who you are. For instance, last weekend was a date night for couples, and what we did is we did a sip and paint, and we also had a therapist there to talk them through guided conversations to build their communication and intimacy together. And we also had like 5-star hors d'oeuvres from a celebrity chef to help expand your palate. And so that type of event we got nothing but great feedback on, and those are the types of experiences we hope to continue to bring at Inside. A big support came from Seattle Restored. They're the company and the program that got us the initial funding here. They have like 100 and something pop-up locations for art, and then we're one of 5 storefront locations that were selected out of the hundreds of applicants as well. So the idea is to, start having these art installations and businesses pop up downtown in hopes that like folks see like we're doing stuff. Let's revitalize, get people back to walking around and spending their time and money down here. The community has really been showing up and showing their support for what we're doing here, and that's really what is going to get people continuing to come back. A lot of feedback that I received on my proposal from Seattle Restored was the reason they selected my option is because I brought in 36 different brands and artists into this space. I intentionally wanted to create a space that was a collective of all these brands and businesses that maybe might not have had the opportunity to be in a retail space. So I wanted to really amplify these amazing brands and products and these people in this community so that we can collectively as a group support each other, but also offer healing and offer alternative ways in which we move and go through this world. Post-COVID, a lot of people are coming out going, what do I want to do with my life now? What is going to give me purpose and what's going to give me a meaning? And so I hope to offer a space that people can explore what that looks like for them, whether it be taking an art class or exploring art that they never have before, or purchasing, products that they would have never tried to expand their palette, or even just dabbling in clothes and look good and feel good and just doing whatever they can to go and tap into areas that they maybe might not have before. We are continuing to bring more products and partner with more folks in our community to offer more classes and resources. So we're excited to be here, and it's so far so good. We heard that we're going to be extended with the Seattle Restored program, so hopefully that means we can stay in this location for a lot longer, and be able to get a good step forward for building a sustainable business.
Welcome back to We Live in Color, and as you can see, that was an amazing clip from 2022 when we were there as Space Inside just opened their doors, a space for building and a space for healing for the past 3 years, and exclusively here. Sierra Jones, you get to tell us the news.
I know. So, many of you do know, and especially but we haven't told community yet. But these past 3 years have been really difficult, and it's a lot to carry and a lot to hold space for community. And I think at one point, I preach about wellness and I preach about self-care, but I needed to stop and take a break for myself. And so earlier this year, I took a sabbatical from Inside, unsure of where we were going to go, if we were going to open or reopen a new location or not. And ultimately at this point, we kind of pivoted to not having our space. We don't plan on reopening our old space or the other location we were looking at. I think at this point in time, while it sucks for community sometimes, it's beautiful because we're able to partner with other spaces. And I think at the end of the day, Inside has always been about a space inside.
Absolutely.
And so how can you create that space inside of you, inside of your home, inside of your community, inside of your life, And so I think it was really important for me to check myself on where my boundaries were, where I was giving a lot of myself to. And running a business is hard, you know. While I do believe that the community was a big part of my healing and getting through, 3 years of hell, really, if I'm going to be frank and honest about my personal life. And so, I had been going through a lot in my personal life, and community really helped me. But at the end of the day, running a business is hard, especially in Seattle. And shout out to the city for helping me get my space and, supporting us through our start and everything like that. I do hope that in the future we may open a new space. You never know. We did get some offers, so we might. But again, that has to be on my
But let's
terms.
hold space for something real quick. Like,
Yeah.
I think, as a Black business owner, in your mental health, right? Can you walk me through of like, when did you decide to choose yourself? Because there's a lot of us that are walking around right now, and they're like, well, I can keep going, I can do this, and I can do that, or I have to sustain this business, and you couldn't sustain yourself.
I think that especially Black people and Black women, we tend to go because that's in our blood, right? Like, we always have to do more than the next person. We always got to do better than the next person, and not better than your peers, but better than the footing that you've been given. And so, we have to do more with less all the time. And so with that being your default programming, it can be difficult to know, like, what is really draining you, what is taken away from you. And for that notion, like, it was really hard because, like I said, community was a big part of my healing, right? And so to walk away from community and to say, hey, we got to close the doors and I don't know what's going to happen next, like, that was a really hard decision for me to make. But at the end of the day, I think you have to listen to not other people. I knew, like, I felt like I had a duty to, thousands of people that show up consistently to our events, that see that space as their community, that sees that space as their home, that sees that space as, their belonging. So a lot of people relied on having that monthly space for their belonging, their community. And so I think that's what kept me going longer than maybe I should have. And not to say longer than I should have, but I needed that sabbatical.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I mean, I think what I've always loved about you is that you have always, when you get to that point where you choose yourself, I feel like it's contagious with your other community folks. Like, you pulling up boundaries, I'm like, girl, I got to pull up my boundaries too. And, mental health and suicide awareness have always, like, been a part of your community care for community folks.
Yeah.
Why has that been so important to you?
I think I've became really passionate about suicide prevention when I was in high school, like Running Start. My sister committed suicide when I was 14. And that was such a huge pivotal turning point in my life of being like, the life you're born into is not the life you have to choose. And everybody has choices. Everybody has options. And so long as you allow other people to dictate your life, like, you'll never be happy. I tell people all the time that there's only one person in this world that will ever have the ability to make you happy, and that's yourself. It's not nobody else, not a person, not a thing, it's yourself. And so if you are not able to sit with yourself in silence without scrolling on your phone, without watching TV, and just sit with yourself and sit with your thoughts, if you can't do that for an hour, honey, you need a sabbatical.
Okay.
You need a quiet retreat. You need a sabbatical. But I mean that in a joking manner, but in a real way, because a lot of people tend to get afraid of, what that inner voice is going to tell you, your failures, your this, your that, the whatevers. But you don't have to identify with any of that. But I think it's a matter of processing that energy again.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be able to process that energy. And for me, I was given so much of myself, I didn't hold enough space for myself to process, to heal, to turn inward, to reflect, to all of that.
Yeah, and I know that there are so many community folks that watch us, and I know you get inboxes from community people with advice. So to help some of our community people who may be impacted, what is some advice that you can give to some of those folks?
I think if you are struggling with mental health right now, I think one of the best things you can do for yourself, despite like whether you think it's true or not, sign up for therapy. And you know, BetterHelp is not sponsoring this, but I use BetterHelp because they, you know, if you don't have an income, they have reduced rates. So they, you know, they're really entry level to meet you where you're at. But joining therapy, you know, I was in therapy before, and I didn't like the experience. And this time I went into it more open and more aware of like, okay, I know this about myself, and so let me get into therapy and have a space that's designed to help me work through what those thoughts are, designed to help me think through what my triggers are, designed to help me identify why did I get, you know, really anxious when that happened or whatever. And they're trained to do that. And so I think one of the best advice I can give somebody is like, I don't need that ish or whatever. It's like, no, you do. Everybody does.
Yeah.
For real.
And I feel like therapy is like, once we tap in it, it's everything our ancestors dreamt for us, right? To eliminate those barriers to healing with finding a safe place to land within yourself.
Yeah, I think that especially people of color, again, we're always having to put on this mask and continue to hustle through it, to get through it, to push on. But in reality, it's like, no, our ancestors want you to slow the F down. Slow down. Like they did not work all that hard in slavery and do all that work for you to have to keep busting your ass out here like that. Like there's so many opportunities to do other things, and really taking time for yourself is one of them.
Yeah, I love you for this. I love you for this, and I also love that you actually have some more news and some more community events that are happening this coming week.
Yes.
And we're going to unpack that, plus our We Live in Color tribute. You're watching We Live in Color with Sierra Jones inside the studio.
We're electric. I feel like the fans can feel that, and we're just going to keep this going. He struck him out! Gino, like he never left Seattle!
Keep bringing the energy. We really need it. Let's go.
Got him at home! The baseball counted it!
We show a lot of heart. This team has a lot of fight. You guys have been electric. You guys are the key to this, so thank you guys.
Start the show.
And we're back with We Live in Color. I'm here, girl. You're making me feel good in the inside. Just always feels good, Sierra, just to, one, have you back in the studio, so full circle. When you started inside, we had just launched We Live in Color.
Yeah.
So I feel like they cousins in some which way, right? And as we, and like we did when you first came here with our We Live in Color tribute, who is someone who helped you live in color?
I'm going to say my grandmother this time. Yeah. She is a devout Catholic woman.
What's her name? Let's speak her in the room.
I'm going to say my grandmother.
We're going to say grandma. Grandma.
My grandmother, Louise. Yeah, she's a devout Catholic woman. And I want to say that was, ironically, most people in the Catholic Church don't have my experience. I understand that. But my church growing up was a Catholic church, and it was the only place that I saw gay people. Like, they came down with a rainbow flag and, did that whole thing. And I was like, oh, I had no idea. And, it never was seen as something, bad or any of that. And she's, like, hardcore Catholic.
We're going to lift her up in this name.
Yes.
Thank you, Grandma. Thank you, Grandma. Well, maybe Grandma will be here this Friday because you got an announcement. We got an event coming up.
Yes, y'all, make sure you check out Add a Space Inside on Instagram, because tomorrow we have an open mic that we're doing. We're taking over River. So we have both our hosts for open mic and our poetry night coming together. It's going to be a lit night, you guys. Taking over River tomorrow.
Girl, you did that quick. I didn't even have to tell you. You're the first person I never had to say to look in the camera. You just did it just on.
I might have worked in production.
Well, you know, before we get out of here, I forgot to ask you for some sound advice, right? We know that Black businesses have been suffering, and you know, here in this studio, here in Converge, we support Black business. So if you had to give community some advice with supporting Black business, what would it be?
Oh, man.
Go ahead, girl. You can even look in the camera.
Let me tell you, if y'all want some business advice, I'm going to tell you, the number one thing you want to do, call the Office of Economic Development. You think I'm playing? Call them. Tell them you got a business. Tell them what your problems are, because they got people that answer those phones and do everything they can to try to get you every resource they can in the city. So if you don't know how to navigate that website, call them. Because there's so many free resources available that the city offers, and support with your marketing, support with your business, support with your accounting, business development, all kinds of services available. And I was able to tap into those services when I started my business. And so that's why I said shout out to the city. It's because they really supported us when we got started, and we wouldn't have been able to make it as far as we did without the city support, and a lot of that was through the Office of Economic Development and those resources.
No, see, I think that's beautiful. Shout out to the Office of Economic Development, and shout out to you, Sierra. I'm just so proud of you of just choosing yourself. You are my sister friend, always. I'm looking forward to Friday, but above all else, I'm just looking forward to just see what you continue to blossom into.
Yeah.
You're such an amazing person.
And so are you, sweetie.
Thank you. I would kiss you, but these mics are here. But I love you. And I love you, community. I mean, we just unpacked a lot, right? We talked about community healing. We talked about suicide and mental health awareness. But above all else, hell, we talked about the uplift of this Black community. We can't do it without healing. We can't do it without seeing one another. And we also can't do it without showing up for ourselves. Thank you for showing up tonight. Remember to walk with love, and we will see you next week.